Hello Sociology classmates, my name is John Reagan and this is my final project. I will be covering over the very important topic of religious inequality in Islamic ruled nations. According to Virginia Island News, as of 2009, over 1.6 billion, or about 23% of the world population, are Muslims. That's almost 1/4 of the world populations don't know Christ. It is also important because these countries that are governed by Islamic rule have resulted in major religious inequality. The bigger Islamic government grows, the worse it is for religious minorities. We will only expose the unfair treatment of Christians in this project. We have a lot to cover, so we'll begin by asking, what is an Islamic state? An Islamic state is a type of government in which the primary basis for government is Islamic religious law, or Sharia law, which many of you may be familiar with. Islamic states such as Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, Yemen, along with others, have adopted Islam as their ideological foundation for their political institution. Many Muslim countries have some form of Sharia law. However, I will expose what it means for Christians in Saudi Arabia and let them be the representative for the Muslim world. Although the government officially recognizes the rights of Christians to worship in private, the public practice is prohibited. All citizens of Saudi Arabia are required to be Muslim. Also, the law considers all children of male citizens to be Muslim, even if their parents are Christian. It is a crime punishable by death for a Muslim to convert. When a Saudi converts to Christianity, their family members and relatives believe that it is their sacred duty to practice honor killings and to murder the convert. Converts who are not murdered by the family will usually fall into the hands of Saudi Arabia's feared religious police, who hand converts over for lashings, torture, deportation, and sometimes even beheading, all for the sake of converting them to Islam. Muslims frequently refer to Islam as the religion of peace, and yet unfortunately whenever you hear of a suicide bomber you instinctively know which people group they come from. Our sociology book may refer to this as racial profiling, but I think Muslims themselves would agree. Many American culture refer to this behavior as a terrorist act committed by extremists, and that most Muslims are peaceful. I would like to challenge that thought. When is the last time you heard of a public outcry among leaders of Islam condemning these killings? I recently learned of a convert from Islam to Christianity who used the same argument against his former religion. They do not apologize for their killings, and many times it is protected under their law. As a matter of fact, Surah 9:5 states enemies of Islam may be slain, and the Quran contains at least 108 other verses that call Muslims to war with non-believers for the sake of Islamic rule. Some are quite graphic, with commands to chop off heads and fingers and kill infidels wherever they may be hiding. Muslims who do not join in the fight are called hypocrites and warn that Allah will send them to hell if they do not join in the slaughter. So you see, those Muslims who are peaceful Muslims are false converts. They're not true Muslims. You might say that that is a matter of interpretation. Well, Muhammad himself must have interpreted his message to be a violent one, having spread his message by the sword from its origin. Islamic states governed by Sharia law are very intolerant of religious minorities. And the examples of Saudi Arabia I spoke of can be multiplied many times over through Islamic countries. One intervention to the issue since 1991 has been through Open Doors Research Department, which has released an annual World Watch list to understand the unique persecution of Christians in different countries and to ensure effective intervention on the ministry's part. The data is derived from a questionnaire containing 53 questions sent to Open Door co-workers, key church leaders, and recognized experts in 70 countries. The questionnaire examines every aspect of persecution, including the degree of legal restrictions, state attitudes, how free a church is to organize itself, and as well as incidents of persecution such as church bombings, anti-Christian riots, and even martyrdom. 90% of the countries on Open Door Top 10 watch list are Muslim countries. If Christian evangelism were legal in these countries, that would be a great start towards a peaceful end. But proselytizing, as they call it, is illegal under Sharia. They live in ignorance of the truth of the gospel because they forbid it. And the consequence of this will be to their own condemnation by the one true God himself, Jesus Christ, who so loved them. Secondly, I don't see this happening, but some Islamic leaders are pushing for a secular government as they see it can be for the purity of Islam. Either way, if the religious minorities are going to have a chance in these countries, it has to be through the separation of mosque and state. Through a democratic society where all are free to speak and worship, disagree, and even be wrong about their faith, but have the freedom to seek truth for themselves. America is the beacon of light for these countries, and although we are not a perfect society, we are the best one available for all people groups. In closing, I simply invite the Muslim world to prove its purity by adopting a democratic society, a democratic government, that promotes freedom for all and protection from evil. But unfortunately, they have communicated they do not welcome our culture of influence, as they think their way of life is best in obedience to Allah, and oftentimes resort to violence in protest whenever America imposes its ideology. Some of the resources, references that I've used for this final project include OpenDoorsUSA.org, The Religion of Peace, the Quran, VirginiaIslandNewsOnline.com, and State.gov. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my final project. I look forward to seeing you guys and reading your feedback. Thank you.